Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Tradespotting, where hopes and dreams meet ends and memes. I've been with you since 2020, riding the waves of the stock market with GameStop. Together we've watched every peak and valley, every dry spell, every wild retrace. And through it all, I've held firm. I resisted intense pressure from all sides. I refused to bow to influence, and I never once veered from my principled course. I've always stuck to my guns, and I've never once self-censored. The journey has been more than just about stocks. It's about resilience, it's about perseverance, and it's about unwavering commitment. During these times, I have, without question, done more than any other GME influencer to guide traders towards opportunities that will help bolster their GameStop position using other stocks. I've pointed you all to tickers that could make a difference to your accounts, that during tough times could really add to the power of your punch. And together we've generated tens of millions of pounds for others. We've kept holders informed. We've helped those who dollar cost average to be their most effective. And we've done all of this despite relentless gravity pulling on the stock. We've navigated treacherous waters of the market and not just survived, but thrived. Recently, we've been talking about LivePerson, a stock with incredible potential. It's already changed the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of traders who trust Tradespotting. And as I speak right now, I know many tens of thousands of GameStop investors are contemplating their next move. They don't want their investments to represent an endorsement of any one political candidate, or perhaps they support another, yet they still want to change the world, they want to change the markets, and they want to change their lives. They still appreciate community and togetherness, maybe even more than those who are determined to remain exclusively with GameStop and appreciate this now political message that it represents. To these traders who are leaving, and they've determined that already, I offer a consideration: LPSN, a ticker that could potentially rise a further 8,000%. It may even drop a little before that, offering an even better entry point. And communicating with those whose minds are already made up about leaving GameStop, I address you as such. I don't create your identity, and I definitely don't aim to influence that decision. My goal is to push this community forward and to take my people to the promised land. I want you to make it, especially those who have been held down, who've been excluded, who've been marginalized, and who've been pushed to the fringes of society. These are the people I most want to help, and these are the people who most benefit from our messaging. Now, let me be clear. I've seen the comments about me, both direct and those that aim to stay hidden. I've heard the plans to undermine me, to distort this story that we're writing, to keep my truth from being the history that we're telling now. But let me tell these people this: I will never stop. I will never change. We will never stop. We will never change. We are not going back. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And from that modern hero, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, be humble. That's why they call me the humble mumble from the East. Be hungry. As you can see, I'm usually hungry. And always be the hardest worker in the room. We're all in rooms alone around the world. We embody these principles. We are relentless. We are determined. And we're unbreakable. To everyone who listens to me now, know this: I'll always have your back. I'll never let you down. Together, we're going to rise, we will conquer, and we will own our own history. This is Tradespotting, where the underdogs rise, the overlooked find their voice, and together, where we make dreams a reality. So we're going to keep moving forward, no matter the odds. We're unstoppable, and we're not going back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tradespotting. LivePerson technical analysis. Does it get any better than this? This stock having a little bit of a retracement today, down 2.72%, but there are worse things on the market, and that sort of a retracement, well, we can live with that. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Price action reached the top side of this channel, as we expected it would do. This is a 4-hour time frame. There are potential retracement levels here. Should price action break this trend, you might look at this trend and think it has a slightly more acute angle. Regardless, these are the levels that may again be retested in at around 1.25. If that doesn't hold, potentially you're looking in at around $1, then back down to 807064. Do I anticipate getting to the lowest of those levels? No. But should it break any of these, that's the next one it would likely head towards. There are topside targets. If it breaks out of this channel, we've got 174. The reason for that is because it's the bottom side of an important gap. Within that, there's less liquidity than there is either side of it, and you might anticipate then price action, should it break that level to the top side, going to 237. If it breaks 237, you'll have defeated an awful lot of bearish artifacts on the chart, and you can anticipate price moving towards 318, 379, 470, and then 977. And I fully anticipate that in the fullness of time, all of these targets to the top side will be hit. And I have a much stronger degree of confidence that price will make it to these levels than I do that price will retrace back down towards 64 cents. So if it does get to those lows, then the opportunity is even greater. I then anticipate that price action will ultimately move up to test back above $100 in at around 113. And when it does, we will have changed so many lives. So many thousands of millionaires will have been created. So many good deeds will have been done, and so many communities will be on the brink of change. Massive improvement, massive change, massive positive developments for you, your family, the people that you live with and care about, and your communities that you live in. Now, none of this is financial advice. It's all how I'll trade and the conviction in my technical analysis and the belief I have about this ticker. Each to their own, play your own game. It's your risk, it's your funds, it's your capital, it's your property, and you'll deploy it as you will. This is not encouragement, it's simply what I am going to be doing with my position on LivePerson. Now, it's true to say I've never sold my GameStop position. but I did liquidate everything else I own. And it is all being deployed, and a large percentage of it has been, into this ticker. And it'll continue to be so as price action evolves. That's what we're looking at on LivePerson. The reasons for it are because of a bullish harmonic that price action has gone through at the minute. It's not completely reached the topside target of that move yet. It's part of a deep crab that suggests price could go on and test slightly higher, up towards that $9.79 target, which is all part of another greater harmonic, which encompasses the entirety of price action from the all-time high to this low in and around that D point, as you see on the chart here. And that's what I truly believe is the future for LivePerson. In advance of that, it needs to do a number of things. Escape a delinquency notice from NASDAQ. Should it do so, and it's now achieved 6 of the 10 necessary days in a row to do it, it'll be one of the very few companies that have ever managed to achieve that without a reverse split. That'll be a testament to the strength of the transition being implemented by the board members who've taken companies from the brink of extinction to $26 billion evaluations, left them and joined other companies which they've taken to $69 billion, been bought out by the biggest companies of the world, and have now been put on the board by an activist fund who have a history of changing the world for the better. They have no political affiliation, and in fact, when they do engage in extracurricular activities, they are very commonly in charities trying to help the most underprivileged and disadvantaged people in society. This is a magnificent company with an outstanding board and an exclusive and unique group of investors who've never come together before to achieve this type of result in the stock market, but they're going to this time. And you either are or could be a big part of that. And that's the history that we're writing together. A hugely important board. These earnings are coming out on the 31st of July, and I'll be live streaming as that's happening. They could be on any day, 6 or 7 days after that date, but they're not. They're on that exact date, which is the same day we see a very important Fed meeting. And to make that decision, knowing those risks and dangers, is a very confident move, reflective of a very confident board. And the markets, they respond positively to confidence, as do I. And I'm sure if you're still watching this show, so do you. So the potential for LivePerson, it's absolutely humongous. It's defined using the technicals, as is the risk management. It's caught my attention because of the fundamental reasons that could change this company and because of the good work that we do together in this community. Big shout out to Owl, who's creating fantastic memes, WikiWilks, who sees things that no other trader does, and everybody involved in making a difference via LivePerson. There is nobody like us. So it's technicals, it's fundamentals, and it's creating a story that is very, very welcoming to people who were previously anchored down in GameStop positions. They are, in their own words, escaping a toxic ship. That toxicity comes from the CEO, who thinks that whether he's serious or otherwise, it's okay to make jokes about the most downtrodden and the most marginalized and the most vulnerable in society. And in my mind, that is not okay. While it doesn't change my investment perspective, it definitely impacts the culture of that investor base, and it alienates large parts of the customer base who are young and then left-leaning in their political viewpoints. So it's very difficult to describe it as wise. It's impossible to call it sensitive, and it's very true to say that it's naive and highly ignorant to behave in the way that Ryan Cohen has done recently on his social media profiles. That is an argument that you cannot possibly dispute, despite the fact that you might agree with his politics. And let me be clear, I am from Scotland, and I couldn't give two fucks about the left and the right in America. It's very different from the left and the right here. And if I lived in America, there's only one person that I would vote for, and they're a member of this community. It's CC's Ghost. So if you see CC's Ghost in the chat box, give her a shout out. Ask her how it is you can possibly vote for her, because she deserves your vote. Vote for CC's Ghost. Vote often, vote regularly, vote early, vote repeatedly. Ryan Cohen isn't from the US either, that's true. So you wonder why it is that he has such a vested interest in it. It's clearly then for personal reasons, to benefit himself, and he's using GameStop as a vehicle to benefit his own political desires, which is of course a very perverted course of action, which has already alienated tens of thousands of GameStop investors and further compounds the difficulties in trying to capture market share when your customers are predominantly young people. That's who you find most often interested in playing computer games. So while that story and that messaging isn't necessarily palatable to all people, I don't aim to please everybody, never mind at all times. I aim to do the right thing at all times, and I'll never self-censor, and I couldn't give two fucks if anybody disagrees with me. So if that's you, and if you feel betrayed by my comments, then consider if, in fact, the genesis for your discomfort is the behavior of the CEO, because I've always been this way, I'll always be this way, and I will never change. So LivePerson closing today at 1.43, the high 1.60. Some people would say then that the close being slightly down was negative. I'd say that 2.72% on a volatile microcap stock like this is not meaningful, and that the fact that it went on to create newer higher highs in this trend is extremely significant. Those two factors weighed against each other, and I'd say that today was another massive success for LivePerson. So that is LivePerson. Looking quickly at GameStop, it's not managed to hold $24. There's a significant reason for that. Mostly it's the behavior of the CEO, but technicals have already outlined the area where it's probably going to, in at around $22. If this red box doesn't hold, then you can anticipate it coming down and testing support at this area. I don't particularly want to see that because, like I say, I never divested my position in GameStop and don't plan on doing so. I also think that of the tens of thousands of people leaving GameStop who are considering entering LivePerson, if you are holding GameStop and never going to invest in anything else and are engaged in this show and watching right now or watching later, then I put it to you, there's nowhere better for those friends of yours to go who've determined to leave anyway than LivePerson, because there's no one more likely to come back to GameStop than that group and section of the investor base. And while they're over here, they're likely to make fuckloads more money than they are watching GameStop twist $22. Now, ultimately, this thing will come up and it'll get back to 28, and I fully anticipate seeing it in at around 33 bucks. So all hope is not lost. But that ship is very much at sea at the minute, and there's no wind in its sails and an awful lot of dangers and dragons out there. LivePerson. Oh, membership gift. Fortnite Chills. Appreciated. Thank you very much, friend. So LivePerson, when it breaks out of this channel, It may indeed retest it. But it's very unlikely that it'll ever come back down to these levels again. And so any opportunity to get in at these lower places, these cheap prices, that will be jumped on by those tens of thousands of people who are sat on the sidelines waiting to enter with millions and millions of dollars. And I say that exclusively, those millions and millions of dollars, I can add them up from the direct messages that I've got on Twitter alone. Hello, Twitter, we're live streaming on that platform as well this evening for the first time. Those tens of millions of dollars, which I know are real because I helped them make it, they're in my direct messages telling me that they're going into LivePerson whenever it drops. Shitloads of it is put on at $1. Shitloads of it. And if GameStop continues in its current path, there will be millions and millions more. Again, not my fault. Sure, I'll absorb that problem with everybody else, but it'll be more than compensated by the fact that it's probably all going over here. And I mean all of that, which is told to me in direct messages, and much of it already committed and on the books at these levels. If this breaks up and manages to exceed $2.40, if it then targets $3 and breaks it, it will go to 4. And when it goes to 4, there is no chance it's going anywhere other than this previous resistance level should it make a wicked retracement. That doesn't mean it has to come down in. It could completely just keep going to $9. And if you haven't experienced a breakout trade that works that way before, then I can tell you you've not been paying attention to Tradespotting, because we've called multiple thousand moves multiple times over the last 4 years. So I'm never going to suggest that LivePerson is an alternative to GameStop. It's a complementary ticker. It's more complementary than anything that's ever been mentioned alongside it before. It's more significant in terms of its potential move than any other stock that's in the basket. Now, I rabbit ears round that because it's a fucking stupid term typically used by people who've no fucking idea what they're talking about. While some of them are very nice, most of them are very well-meaning. It's a hugely ignorant term, and there is no basket that holds all of those stocks which are said to be in it. There is, of course, lots of short stocks that were overly shorted. LivePerson doesn't suffer from that same anchor. It's not a market's dynamics play. You don't have an enemy on the other side of the trade trying to chop you down at the knees. And that is a good thing. And as such, the investors that are drawn to this ticker are much more positive in spirit and essence than those toxic losers who try to manipulate my message and hope to control me via mob rule. LivePerson offers a positive opportunity, and the investors who choose this ticker, they don't need an enemy to define their own outline. They don't need somebody to defeat in order to fill out their own sense of self. They don't need a bad guy for their own edification, because their goals are aligned with their spirit, is aligned with their intentions, fits their plan, and they invest in good companies that are going to make good moves and are going to do good things. And that's also one of the reasons why, without what is now the gasoline on the fire, that's you, without this combination of investors from activist funds to now huge institutions buying it up like there is no tomorrow, and you, the Reddit crowd, rabbit ears, that makes so much of a wave and so much of a splash in popular culture nowadays. There has never been that group that have moved together in one direction. And if it was that you're in GameStop, imagining what the future would be like if all the funds decided to flop, and be on your side. Well, here you can experience it in real time to your own benefit. And if you don't believe me, just look at the news. LivePerson, post-market 143, nothing to argue about there. We're a big fan of that. SPY, now this is going to have a massive impact on the market, has come down and tested the top side of a gap. It found support within that gap and retraced back up to these important levels. MACD back above the center line, coming back down now to turn around and potentially get a little bit of impetus. It's got a gap to finish filling on the top side, and it could then easily go to 5555. If it makes that move, LivePerson will rise with it and break through resistance and go on to incredible new highs on this trend. SPY, is it likely to make that move? Here's VIX. It's the volatility index. It measures how many contracts are out of the money on SPY. Let's look at it on the 4-hour time frame. As you can see, it's in this channel. 1, 2, 3 touches to the top side. That makes that resistance real. Price action retracing from that level, losing a previous high, and could easily come in and test 1450. That would speak to continued upside for SPY, the potential for that ticker to rise, and that positive implications then for LivePerson. Not just that, but it's got really clear support on this support level within this channel, and it's very likely then that if SPY does rise up again, VIX will fall through that center line and come back down and test those lows. And if that's what's going on, then SPY will be moving up. It'll be testing its previous high at 56700. That's SPX 567 if you're looking at SPY. And if it gets back there, LivePerson is going to go on and close that gap and test in at around 230. That dynamic, that implication, that won't necessarily be what happens with GameStop. SPY could rise up, and as so very commonly happens, GameStop could come back down. It could test that VWAP at $20, never mind hold 22, and I fully expect that in due course you will see this at 22 bucks. Whether it happens now or it happens in a couple of weeks' time, it's very likely to happen, and that has implications for people who don't want to see their investment underwater and be stuck in a stock where the leader of it advocates for principles that they're dead against, who wants to elect candidates who are the antithesis to their objectives in society. And it's very true to say that there's a number of associations now with that political connection in GameStop that have been highlighted as objectives that the GameStop investor base has, from its genesis, been trying to fight against. And I'd like to make it clear that I find it incredibly disappointing that it doesn't impact my investment perspective. It does not affect what I will do with my shareholding, but it's definitely something that has impacted the investor base, and I have hundreds of messages about it. I get more every day, and I expect after this video to get even more, along with those negative conversations surrounding Tradespotting, trying to point to my motivations and create a story and narrative around me that isn't true. But none of those voices are going to speak as loudly as the absolute deafening victory that this stock is likely to have in the near future. And that's what I anticipate happening for LivePerson. As this video ends, you'll be directed to a meme, an absolutely world-class meme in a series of them. There are now hours and hours of entertainment and educational value, revealing secrets that can't be said in any other way, with the best memes that have ever been created for a stock in the history of this retail movement. And that includes GameStop and anybody who might have ever created a meme in it. And that particular reference there is speaking directly to deep value, to Keith Gill, a.k.a. Roaring Kitty. These memes are out of this world. This investor group welcome you with open arms and a massive, grateful, thankful heart for everything you've done for them. You would be welcomed into this community and held up like the hero you really are. So don't ever interpret my words as being negative about Keith Gill. He's a hero of mine, And we'd love to see him investing in LivePerson. Who knows, maybe he already has. So LivePerson, hugely significant stock. And why is that? Because of the board, because of the activist investment fund, because of the institutions involved, because of the transition plan, because it's been proved, because of the market that's rules, which it is now managing to escape, because of the low probability that that was ever going to happen, because of the statistical unlikelihood that it would achieve its objectives, and because of the fact that it's doing it as we speak. Day 6 of 10, 4 left. One of them includes earnings, and the board decided to schedule it on the same day as a Fed meeting. That is a very ballsy decision. And you are the most ballsy investor base in the fucking markets. Nobody like you. Absolutely nobody. That meme starts now. Thanks to everybody who supported the show. They included BMJ Shadow, who donated $10. Thank you very much. One of the hardest working people you'll ever meet. Barry Buspa, who gifted a membership, and it was picked up by Holmes252. Congratulations, Holmes. Welcome to the gang. Consider renewing or upgrading. You're welcome to the family. Fortnite Chilies, who gifted a membership to Chucks. Welcome, Chucks. Thanks very much, Fortnite Chilies. He also gifted one to John Biscuits. John Biscuits, consider renewing. I see you've got a couple of gifts now. Make sure to thank Fortnite Chilies. Making a big sacrifice to boost the community, and it's really appreciated. Thank you. He also did it for JJ Star, and you yourself have been a member before. Great to see you back in the group, sir. And then 3 days ago, we had Kitties Never Die. Now, a lot of people who have share the political opinions of Ryan Cohen are in this community, and they can rise above any of those personal feelings about their own politics to recognize that what they really care about is improving their own life. And Kitties Never Die, he's a really good example of somebody who supports that political candidate that Ryan Cohen and the vehicle for his political aspirations, that is GameStop, support. He supports that person too. But he sees the benefit in community, and he doesn't like the divisive nature that's impacting his investments. And he still is able to then see beyond these concerns and make the most of an amazing opportunity in LivePerson. So thank you very much, Kitties, for that 3 days ago. I appreciate it. And I really appreciate you, mate. Brew Lee, a really fun, interesting, friendly guy who makes the most funny little single picture memes you're likely to see. Well, it's hard. It's a hard fought competition, that, but he's right up there. And he gifted a membership, which was given to Mr. Fett. Mr. Fett, that's 2 months in a row now. You are never alone and never without friends here. Barry Buspa also gifted a membership, and BMJ also did too. That's a lot of people helping the show, supporting people out. I really appreciate you. I see Marcus Lager, you've also upgraded to associate. Welcome, my friend. It's great to see you. Every single person here, you're welcome to join me and the rest of the community on Discord. We've got a free Discord you can upgrade, and you'll get well rewarded for doing so over there. But we've a free Discord that everybody of every color and stripe is welcome to join. Will be really appreciated as part of the team. And on that, we've got many resources to help you as a trader, not least of which is the LivePerson thread, which is full of thousands of people who are discussing the bullish thesis on this stock, the way that they'll manage risk, the way that they'll execute on entry, their targets for the stock, and how they see it progressing towards those goals. I've fielded many questions recently about my near-term targets for LivePerson, and the answer is, where is price action going on LivePerson? It's going up. It's going up and up and up and up again. Others say, but where is this close target where I can use to take profit? And that would be speaking to taking advantage of the great work that this community do. It would be requiring of me to betray the trust of the people who invest in this company because they believe that the decisions I make are good ones that they could also learn from and follow in the markets. And I'll never, ever, ever undermine my own messaging or those people who put their faith in me, ever, even if it was to help somebody reach some goal that might be really beneficial for them and they themselves to be a very good person. The targets that I hold for LivePerson are $69 and $113. I will be taking the stock there myself. I don't care if nobody else joins me. That's been the truth from the start. It'll be the truth till the day I leave it, if that ever happens. And you're all welcome to join me. You're also welcome to watch this meme. It's starting now. Thank you very much for watching. See you then. I've been Tradespotting, and you have been the best trading community in the markets, and you're going to keep being that. And remember,